I'm Dennis Cavanaugh. I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sheriff's Office. On my right is Sergeant Jim Welsh from the Lorain Narcotics Unit at the PD, and this is Sergeant Tom Nyman from the Lorain Police Department. Did you guys get a chance to read any of your packets or anything at all? What we're going to do is we're just going to have a little brief discussion of that. I want all of you to know this is an ongoing investigation. We're going to be very limited to the amount of questions we can answer, and if you come into some areas like that, we'll just tell you that you can't do it at this time. So basically, you know, the three departments were joined together in this large-scale investigation of cocaine. It was a large distribution area in our county, and Sergeant Welch is going to get into the case a little bit more.
Good morning. For every large drug conspiracy, you need a few things to be successful. The first is a source of supply, buyers, facilitators, couriers, and a good product to distribute that throughout your area. This organization had all of those. Through the course of the investigation, we identified 2 large-scale kilogram of cocaine suppliers that were operating out of Cuyahoga County. They were identified as Christopher Craig and Bernard Washington. This investigation concluded on Friday, March 13th, at which time Craig and Washington delivered a kilogram of cocaine to the city of Elyria at 3 Tattersall Court. It's the home of Grace Lee Milton. They were delivering the cocaine to 2 main drug suppliers here in Lorain County by the name of Jarvis Burns and Travis Milton. To take that kilo down, we had vehicles strategically placed in the area. We conducted 4 traffic stops. We located approximately $43,000 on Bernard Washington and Christopher Craig's person. We also stopped 3 additional vehicles and recovered a kilogram of cocaine split up between the 3 cars, and those vehicles included one Jarvis Burns, who was the top of our organization here in Elyria, and his father, Donald Ray Milton. The second car was Travis Milton, and the third was a Kevin Riggins. And between the 3 of those cars, there was a kilogram of cocaine discovered, and again, Craig and Washington had approximately $43,000 in their vehicle. After those initial takedowns, in the course of a couple days, we initiated 17 search warrants and arrested 30 people to date. Again, as Chief Cavanaugh said, the investigation is continuing. We have more arrests, or we anticipate more arrests in the next coming days. Through the course of those arrests and search warrants, we have recovered approximately 3,400 grams of cocaine, which is roughly 3.3 kilograms of cocaine, smaller amounts of heroin, marijuana, and prescription pills. We also located 5 guns, seized 10 vehicles, probably 3 or 4 residences here in Elyria and in Sheffield Lake, and recovered approximately $84,000 in the course of the investigation.
And obviously this is a very large-scale investigation. Not one agency up here can conduct these investigations on their own. It takes a cooperative effort of all 3 of us. We've done this many times. It takes a whole lot of dedicated officers to do that. And we're all kind of proud of the agencies working together and pull together their resources and manpower to accomplish this.
I'd like to commend all the law enforcement officers and support personnel that worked this investigation. They worked countless hours and gave up valuable time with their friends and family, at which we would have never been able to bring this case to a successful conclusion.
Any questions?
How long did this investigation take?
We initiated it actively probably around a year ago. Immediately, probably within the last 2 months, we've all got together and actively worked the case. But This family and this organization has been around for decades in Elyria, so we use probably a decade's worth of intelligence and information to develop the case. But actively, probably within the last 2 months, we've been working together.
When you mean this family, which family are you talking about?
There's 3 families essentially that make up this organization. That is the Burns family, the Milton family, and the Tillman family. They are all related. They're all part of this criminal drug conspiracy, and they all act together in some form of criminal enterprise.
Can you elaborate at this point if this is a multi-state investigation or is this strictly local?
Right now, it's multi-county, more or less, the suppliers that we determine is coming out of Cuyahoga County. Obviously, any narcotics are probably that scale is coming from outside the country, especially in this case. But for what our investigators let us do, it's usually the distribution, mostly is in Lorain County itself, the suppliers from Cuyahoga. At least this supplier was. I'm sure there was others that are out there. That's why we are still ongoing investigation, and we'll see where that leads us.
So far, more than 30 arrests, and everyone there is somehow related some way? So it was like a family criminal organization, you could call it?
Correct.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, as I kind of briefly talked about in the beginning, with a drug organization, you need somebody that supplies whatever drug of choice it is. In this case, it's cocaine. You have your main buyers. In this case, it would be Burns, Milton, Riggins, and Tillman. They would then supply the cocaine and sell it in ounce forms to some of the lower level or mid-level drug suppliers here in the county. They would sell it for profit. They would use other members of the family as couriers, as distributors, as facilitators to set up deals at their homes and use their vehicles to buy and sell the product.
Can you talk about, from a historical perspective, how big a blessing this is for the city? Does this happen every week, every year? I mean, give us a little perspective on this.
Obviously, we've done pretty good as a group, like I said before. It takes all 3 of us, especially on large-scale investigations, to do this. We've had several. We've done a lot of these in the past years. And understand, this is just one drug trafficking organization in this county. There's many others. We're just now moving on to the next, okay, in addition to finalizing this one. So I'm sure all these guys that are standing around, they're going to be hitting the streets real hard here real quick going on to the next one.
Are you guys happy with the funding and stuff that you have locally, federally? Do you have enough to keep this kind of stuff going, or?
Individually, none of us have that type of funding to keep us going. Together is the only way we can stay afloat, and we'll continue to do the best with what we have. It's always nice to have more. Like I said, there's never enough of us to conduct these type of things.
Speaking personally from the city of Elyria perspective, just as Lorain and some of the other neighboring cities in this area, we all have budget constraints and budget problems. With that being said, we receive a lot of support from our mayor, Holly Brenda, and the safety service director, Mary Saworka, to put on these investigations. They're taxing to the rest of the police department as well as the city, but I believe based on, as you guys can see, the number of people that we've arrested, the amount of search warrants and arrests that we have made, I believe it's worth, you know, what it takes to put into these investigations. I think what we get out of it is, you know, a lot of people that have been selling drugs in this area for a long time, and hopefully they're going to be in jail for at least the next 10 years.
You guys talk about working together. You mentioned this comes out of Cuyahoga County too. Are there other agencies involved, like the FBI or?
Right, I'm glad you brought that up. We had, especially when we get outside of Lorain County, obviously we have to have other jurisdictions involved. We had WEB, which is the West Side Enforcement Bureau, was supported us in this act, so did DEA. And even locally, even when we conduct these searches, that's a lot of manpower over there. We utilized all 3 SWAT teams from Lorain, the Sheriff's Office, and Elyria. That certainly helped us some, and then we have to draw manpower from the other cities in here. Sheffield Lake County Metro Parks is also part of it. They helped us even with the staging area. So there's a very large magnitude of manpower and organization that goes into these things. What you see is the result here. What it takes to put them together is another story. And then you definitely need to have the support of the other agencies. And we're very fortunate in Lorain County because we have that type of working cooperation with everybody in here. You know, a lot of times you'll see egos getting away. That's not the case in Lorain County. If I was making calls for standby for officers, and I'll tell you, every chief was very cooperative, giving me as much manpower as we could because they understand the magnitude of this and what it takes to get it done. So, yeah, we're pretty fortunate with that, that's for sure.
And really, just to piggyback that, we receive a strong amount of support from our county prosecutor, Dennis Will, and his office. Really, without their support and help throughout these cases, we wouldn't be able to work them and be as successful as we are.
Yeah, we speak here of the enforcement entities that are involved, but the county prosecutor's office has quite a lot of hours and all the support, the search warrants and advice, and just they're a part of these things all the way through every major investigation, but especially on these major ones. So they have a lot of manpower hours involved in this too.
Can you guys talk about how big a dent this actually is in this area, this organization? How big a dent did you take?
I think anytime you have this large scale and you're talking about multiple kilos being sold in your county, it's very significant. But unfortunately, there's a whole lot more. There's other drug trafficking organizations out there that are large scale, and this is just one, and we'll be moving on to the others.